2008 BMW 328i spark plug replacement. I'm Brian Esslick from How To Automotive. I'm going to walk you through the steps of replacing them. Okay, to get started on removing the spark plugs, the first thing we need to do is remove this cowling right here. This here to get the covers off to get to the spark plugs. So the first thing you're going to do is there's going to be 6 8mm bolts that go around this cover here, which is the cover for the cabin air filter. So you're going to remove those 6 8mm bolts and then lift the cover off. Now if your cabin air filter is dirty, now would be the time to change that. Now we need to remove the ambient air temperature sensor. So you're just going to grab it like this, twist it a quarter turn, and pull it out of the little perch here. Then on the wire, there's going to be these little plastic catches. You're just going to pull them off like this, and then you're going to just flip the wiring harness out of the way. Now you're going to, over here, you're going to pop the cover off like this, right here, like that. And then there's going to be a plastic tab right here. You can put your finger in or a screwdriver, and you're going to pull it out, pry it out, and pull the cover off. And there'll be a tab also on the back side here. So you'll pull it like this, and you'll work the cover off. So once you get this cover off, you're going to do the same exact thing for the cover on this side. Now we need to remove the battery cable here and the wiring harness loom that goes through here. And the way we do that is you're going to take a little pocket screwdriver and you're going to stick it in right here, and you're going to push this little tab down. I already got it popped out a little bit so you guys can see, but there's a little tab in here. You're going to push it down just like that, and then once you get it pulled down, you'll pop out the corner, and then you'll move to this tab, pop it out, and then move to this tab and pop it out. We're not going to unplug it or anything. We're just going to unconnect it like this, or let it hang like this. And now behind it is the actual wiring harness. And the same thing, if you take your screwdriver behind here, and sometimes you can just pull them off like that. But there's the little tab if you need to get to it. You just push the tabs down, and you'll do that for all 3. Now that this wiring loom is disconnected from the cowling piece here, we're going to go over here in the corners, and there's going to be an 8mm bolt here, and on the opposite side, the 8mm bolt there. Remove those 2 bolts are removed. You'll just grab the cowling here, and you'll lift it up and kind of work it off like this and remove it. Next, we need to get the top engine cover off. So you're going to remove the 5mm Allen bolts here, one here, and then right underneath the wiring harness, you can just kind of maneuver it out of your way. There's one back here you're going to remove. 4 bolts have been removed from the cover. Then you can just kind of lift it up and slide it off. Okay, now that the covers are off, we're going to unplug our coil. So you're just going to grab right here on the coil and lift up until it's vertical like that. And then once it's vertical like that, then you can grab the connector and pull off. And you're going to do that to all 6 of the coils. On the 2 coils next to the vanos, you probably won't be able to slide the wire off. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to pry the coil up a little bit. So you're going to take a pry bar like this, or a flat blade screwdriver, and kind of put it under the ear of the right there, and just pry up a little bit. And then now that'll give you enough room to maneuver the wire from the coil. So once you get all 6 of them unplugged, you're just going to use the same pry bar technique like this on all the coils, and put it on the edge right here, and pry up and pop all the coils out like that. And then you can set them aside. I like to set them aside in order. So this is number 1. I'll set it in a row, and kind of on my bench, and just in a row. Working with the coils in the rear, you're just going to maneuver the wiring harness out of your way just to get to everything. And then you may have to close the door and kind of angle it like this at an angle to get the coil out, so it doesn't hit the strut bracing. Now to get the spark plugs out, you're just going to use a standard 5/8 spark plug socket. And what I like to use is what's they call a semi-wobble extension. So it has this little, kind of like a little ball socket on the end of it. The socket has a little bit of wobble in it like this. And the reason why I like to use that is when you get around the strut brace here, when you get to this particular one, that little bit of wobble allows you to work around the strut brace with the long extension. If you don't have that, you can just use the extension that's down here, and you can still crack it free with your ratchet and get it out. But this is just a cool little tool to have to work around stuff like this. So when removing your spark plug, I recommend you use hand tools just like this. Don't use power tools, air ratchets, or impact guns to remove the spark plugs. The aluminum cylinder heads in these are very soft, and it's very easy to pull the threads out, or actually crack the spark plugs and have pieces of it fall down into the combustion chamber there. So use hand tools like this and take it out. So after removing all 6 of the spark plugs, we're going to replace them with these NGK Platinum spark plugs. Here are the part numbers. I will put links for the spark plugs in the description of the video. I also have links for the tools that I'm using in the description of the video, just in case you need that. And so now BMW recommends you install these spark plugs dry, meaning don't put any anti-seize, oil, or anything on the threads. You're just going to leave them just like that. And we're going to start them all by hand, and we're going to run them all the way down until this crush washer just touches and it's just snug. And then once you get them run all the way down until they're snug, you're going to tighten the spark plugs until you feel this little washer right here. It's made out of aluminum. You'll feel it crush down a little bit, and it's usually about a quarter turn or so more after you get it snug, and that's all you need to do. I'm just going to reinstall it back into the spark plug socket like this, and then run it in by hand until it bottoms out. So once you run them all the way in until they bottomed out and they're kind of snug in there, then you're just going to give it about a quarter turn more, and you'll feel that washer crush down. Now that all 6 of our spark plugs are reinstalled, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip the coil back in, but before I push it all the way back down, I'm going to slide the wire on and push it on as far as I can. At the same time, you're going to flip this little door down, and you're going to take your fingers and push in like that and lock it in place. And then once you got it there, then you can push it all the way down and seat it, and you'll do that for all 6. Okay, now that all the coils are reinstalled, I recommend you start your car and run it for a few seconds and check for misfires. It's really common for these wires, these connectors, not, if they're even out just a little bit, they'll misfire. So you want to run it before you put all the covers back on, make sure everything's good. And another common issue for these coils are pretty common for them to fail. So if you have one cylinder misfiring, it's almost a guarantee, not 100%, but most of the time it's an ignition coil that's malfunctioned on these cars. So if your car is misfiring and you suspect a bad coil, I'll put a link in the description also for the coil on this vehicle. Now after starting the vehicle and satisfied that now it's running on all 6 cylinders, and now we can go ahead and install the top engine cover. So you'll slide it back underneath and start the 4 5mm Allen bolts. The cover is resecured. We need to reinstall our cowling piece here. So on the back side, they have these hooks every couple inches here, and these hooks here need to hook under. So they need to hook underneath this rubber grommet here on the edge of the cowling. So there's also going to be like a little slash mark here, and right in the center here. So basically, that center of this little cap here, you'll line it up. It'll be pretty close to exactly where it needs to go. So you're going to hold it at an angle like this, and then rotate it downwards and push in at the same time. Also in the corners, you want to make sure the rubber grommets here are kind of pulled out while you're putting this back in. And then once you got it in there, you'll know because it'll lay flat on the on this piece here where the bolts go through. And the bolt holes will line up. Once it's in there, now you can go ahead and start the 8mm bolts here in the corners, the 2, and tighten those down. Okay, now that the cowling is re-bolted back down, you're going to take the rubber boots and grommets over here in the corners and kind of stuff them underneath and hook this little rubber catch in the slots here. So it'll look like that. And you're going to do that for both sides. You're going to reinstall the cap, so you'll just position it in place and just push down until these little lock tabs lock in place. And then also in the corner here, you'll have to maneuver this little rubber grommet out of the way and then hook it into the slot. So it's going to look like that after it's reconnected and the rubber boot and grommet's back into place. And you're going to do that for both sides. And once you got that done, then you're going to reinstall your ambient air temperature sensor. So you just flip your wiring harness back over, line up the little slot on it. Once you get the slot lined up, you'll just turn it clockwise until it locks into position. Then you'll take these little catches and put them back over the little purchase and just push down to lock them into place. Now we're going to reinstall our wiring harness here, and you're just going to line up these little grooves here with the grooves on here, and you just push them on until they lock into place. Kind of line up all 3 of them, and then once you get them all 3 lined up, then you can push them in and lock them into place like that. And then you'll do the same thing for the outer one with the battery cables. So you'll find the little slots that it lines up on, and you'll line all 3 of them up, and then you'll push them on. Now you're going to take the cowling piece that holds the cabin air filters and you reinstall those on, and you're going to start these 6 screws and you're going to tighten them down, and especially the ones back here, you don't want to over tighten. If you do, this little portion of the cabin filter cover here will crack and break off like the ears. I've seen it's pretty common on these. So you just want to do them until they're snug. You got the cowling re-secure. If you were doing this because of a misfire, you would clear the codes and go test drive, and that will complete the spark plug replacement on a 2008 BMW 328i. This is the n51 motor. This 3-liter engine. I'm Brian Esser from How To Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching my videos, encourage you to subscribe, and invite you to head over to the howtoautomotive.com website for more valuable videos like this. And also, I will be putting the links for all the parts and tools that I use in this video in the description, and they'll also be on the website at How To Automotive. Thank you again for watching.